Hello again, everybody. Welcome to our very first lesson in Computer 6, Introduction to Computers, about Microsoft Excel. Some of you I know have some experience working in Excel, and some of you probably don't. So this is going to be from the very beginning, just an introduction to what it looks like, how to access it, how to open it, and just some of the basic things we can do inside of it that are kind of interesting. And then we will get into some of the more complex features in later videos. So to begin with, if you don't see it on your desktop, which you probably don't, if you go down to the Start button in the bottom left-hand corner where my mouse is, click on that and then click on All Programs. You might have to scroll a little bit, I don't know, but you're looking for this one right here, Excel 2016. Okay, so we are going to click on that, open it up, and then you'll see it looks very much like Microsoft Windows, Microsoft Word that is, and then all kinds of templates that we might look at later, but we are just going to start blank and just have a look around at some of the features in this. So if you would pause the video and go open a worksheet just like I have, and we will continue from here. Once it is open, a smart thing for us to do would be go ahead and save it. That's something we always should do first. I know I forget to do that sometimes. So click on File, go down to Save As, and you may have to browse to find your M drive, or it might pop up on your screen depending. Let's do Browse, and we need to go find your M drive now. So again, just like in Microsoft Word, you're going to look for computer, and when you click on computer, you'll see your drives, find your M drive, you'll save it there, and I will save mine on my H drive because that's where I have room. Let's call this Excel Picture Intro, and that should be in your folder that's Introduction to Computers. So if you have one folder there that says Intro to Computers, make sure you double click that and get it in there. And you can look at the top of the screen to make sure it shows you that it's being saved in the right place. Click Save, and then at the top of your worksheet it should say Excel Picture Intro. Okay, this page is called a worksheet. That's a word you'll need to know, worksheet. Okay, and within the worksheets you have all these different rectangles that with your mouse you can click around in them. Those are called cells, C-E-L-L, cells. Okay, and whichever cell you are in, it has a code, we could call it, or an address, and the address or the active cell, that's another word. The active cell is the cell that is selected. See, if I move over here and I click on this cell, you see how that becomes a black rectangle? And that is the cell that is selected, the active cell. You'll need to know that word too, active cell. So we've got all kinds of words here. Spreadsheet, cell, and then active cell. The active cell is, again, the one that I've selected. For example, right now it's right here, and you'll notice I'm in column G, and I'm in row 7. So right there, when that's a black rectangle, look right here on my screen on the left side of the board, and that is G7. That is the cell that you are in. This area up here where I'm typing right now, you see up at the top, that is the information that's being put into the cell that you are working on. Okay, so that's just some reference things that you need to know. Another simple thing here is if you type something, let's say I'm in E5, you don't need to do this yet because I'm going to delete it. Let's say I put my name in there. You can hit enter, or you can hit the check mark to make it be in there. Okay, and then if you want it to go away, you can hit the delete button, or you can go up here, you can highlight it and hit the X to make it go away. Nope, that didn't work. It's supposed to. Anyway, you can just delete it and hit enter, and that will take care of it. So right now you should have a blank sheet in front of you. There's all kinds of things we can do here, and we'll do that over a period of time. But today we're just going to have a little bit of fun, do a little bit of art with it. You may have done this in elementary school if you played around with spreadsheets. What we want to do is we're going to begin by just resizing the cells. So one thing that you can do is, if let's say I wanted to change the size of column D. If you put your mouse right in between D and the E, and you see how the cursor changes right there, and you click and hold, you can expand or decrease the space or the size of that particular cell. So if I make it really close, I can make now cell D, your column D has become really small. That might be good for some formatting things that you want to do if you're making a table later. Or you can grab it and you can make it really wide. Let's say there you had maybe some long emails that you had to type into this particular column right there. Okay, now another cool thing is, let's say I want to change the entire, like all of the columns. Okay, if you go up here where the triangle is and you click on that, now let's say I just change column B, let's say I make it a little bit smaller. Notice that all of the columns changed to that column width. Same with the rows. If I want to change the rows, that just made all of the rows the same width as the one that I just changed. That's because I clicked on this triangle up here and it selected the entire spreadsheet. So I could go anywhere in the spreadsheet and change that. Okay, another thing you need to know about spreadsheets is essentially these rows, they go on forever and ever. And I could pick a row and just hold the down arrow, and you'll notice the numbers over here. I'm up at 52 rows now. If I just hold the down arrow, it'll basically go further than anything we will ever need to know. Up arrow takes it all the way back up to the beginning. If I go to the right, notice the alphabet has now changed to a double alphabet, and that will just continue as I go to the right. So there is a limit eventually, and I don't know exactly what it is, but way more than we'll ever need to know. Okay, so what I would like you to do is select that triangle corner again. Let's grab column A, click and hold it, and let's make that width. You see there's two numbers there. It says width 6.0 and then it says pixels. See if you can get the pixels to be right on 60 for the width of column A. Now I have selected the whole spreadsheet, so your entire spreadsheet should be the same width. And let's grab row A. Now notice on this one, the height number, you have the pixels in parentheses. So see if you can make that pixel number also 60, and we will have squares, a whole bunch of squares. Okay, so you have, if you want to check it, just hover your mouse over, click and hold, and it'll tell you the width. And again, we're just looking at the pixels. I'm at 61 there. And if you move it just a little bit, it's going to change. It's very sensitive to that. So I have on my screen, I can see, yours might be different depending on the setup of your computer. I can see from column A up to column T, and I can see down to row 10. So let's just have a little bit of fun here. I want to click on column and cell A1, click, drag to column T. So that's all grayed out. We're going to make just a little picture here for fun. And I am going to use this feature up here. You see the little paint bucket? Let's begin with, let's create a border, and then within the border we'll do some pictures. How about yellow? Find a nice yellow from A to T, click and drag, and once you paint that, you'll notice the gray lines of the cells go away because basically you painted over it. And let's make a border, and let's go down to, how about in column T, go down to row 15. And let's use the same color. So all you have to do is click on that yellow paint bucket again. Then from column cell T15, drag over to A15, hit that again. And then from A15, drag up to A1 and hit that again. And so we've created a nice little border. Now, Microsoft Excel, the purpose is not for us to paint pictures, but this is kind of a fun way to get to see how it's set up. Even though I've painted in that, take your arrow keys and move the cursor around, and you can see that it's still made up of cells, and we could still input data in those colored cells if we wanted to, but we're not going to do that for this particular assignment. Now within that row, or within that border, let's make another border, and I'm going to drag now from B2 over to S2, and let's paint that. How about a light, I don't know, some kind of a blue shade idea there, a blue or teal or something. And then let's do a border inside of that. all the same color. And let's fill it in. Click and drag. And we have that. So there we go. We've got a nice little border there. All right, why don't you make 2 more borders and you choose the colors. Pause the video, make 2 more borders, and then when you come back, when you restart the video, or I'm going to pause it right here for a moment, and I will do 2 colors and we'll see what they look like. You choose the next 2 borders and hit pause, and in a moment it's going to pop up on my screen. Pause now. Okay, hopefully by now you have created 2 more border lines. If you haven't, stop the video and do that. You don't have to use the color I did. I chose a brighter blue or darker blue and a green to go in the next 2. And what I'm going to do now is I want to try a column or a border that alternates color. So I'm going to pick 2 colors, and they should be colors that don't match the border that's touching it, just so it's clear to see. So I'm going to pick maybe in this one here, I'm in cell E5. I'm going to select an orange. Whoops, I keep changing. I'm choosing the wrong one. That, by the way, is not the one. That is actually if I was going to put in some text, and we'll get to that later. I'm going to pick, how about this orange? There it is, an orange, and then I'll alternate to, I don't know, maybe a gray. Okay, and so what I'm going to do this time, though, is I'm going to go back to this orange, and when I click on this, by the way, down here where it says standard colors, I believe those are the ones that you've used recently, or at least that's where I'm going to grab it. And then sometimes if you go and create a new color, you'll get it down into this recent one here, which I said that wrong. So I'm just going to use the standard orange here, and I'm going to just click on every other cell and make them orange. Okay, and now this particular color, gray, I'm going to put in the alternating boxes. Okay, so let's see if I can find that gray. Which one was it? Was it that one? Nope, it's darker. That one. And I can just select it there. So you'll notice that when I've used the previous color, you can just go back and click on the paint bucket. Let's make this one gray as well. And now I'll show you another trick. You can alternate down and do every other one gray because we want the entire perimeter to be alternating. But I'm going to show you a really cool trick now. In cell E5, select the orange cell and drag over to F5, and you'll see a rectangle is selected, and you'll notice in the bottom right-hand corner there's a dot. And if you hover the mouse over that dot, it will change to a little cross. If you click that and drag it all the way down to where you want it to stop and let go, it will fill in that pattern for you, so you don't have to change it. And we can do the same thing going across. Here, I want to make that orange. I think that's the one I was using. So if I select P5 to P6, click, drag, and it will create that pattern for me. So if I want to do the last row, I go to cell F12. I'm sorry, F11 is where I am. I'm going to make that one gray. And now if I click and drag, grab that corner and let it go, it will fill it in for me. So on the remaining perimeters and rows, would you please make different designs where each cell touching each other on the border is different? You can do alternating 2, you can do alternating, you can do 3 and 3, 4, you can do 4 and 4, or however you want, just to where it's not exactly the same like the outer borders, that they were all solid. And I would love to come by and see that. And I'm going to end this video now because that should be fun experience for you. And there will be a follow-up video to this when we get into a little more of the intricate things of Microsoft Excel.